భారత్ అమృతకాలం దిశగా పురోగమిస్తోంది. భారత్ను వెంటాడుతున్న సమస్యలను ప్రధాని మోదీ నేతృత్వంలోని బీజేపీ ప్రభుత్వం చక్కదిద్దుకుంటూ వెళ్తోంది. 2047 నాటికి స్వాతంత్ర భారత్ 100 ఏళ్లు పూర్తి చేసుకుంటుంది. ఈ క్రమంలో అభివృద్ధి చెందిన దేశంగా చూడాలనే కలను నిజం చేయడానికి మోదీ సర్కార్ ప్రయత్నాలు చేస్తోంది. కోట్లాది హిందువుల ఆకాంక్ష అయిన అయోధ్య రామాలయ నిర్మాణాన్ని మోదీ అత్యంత సామరస్యపూర్వకంగా పూర్తి చేశారు. దీంతో రామరాజ్యం కల సాకారానికి అడుగులు పడ్డాయి. దేశం సుభిక్షంగా ఉండి రామరాజ్య భారత్ వైపు చేరుకోవడానికి మరెన్నో రోజులు లేదు. ఒకప్పుడు భారత్ అంటే ఆహార ధాన్యాల నుండి సాంకేతిక పరికరాల కోసం ఇతర దేశాల వైపు చూసేది. అయితే మోదీ హయాంలో అన్ని రంగాల్లో భారత్ పరుగులు తీస్తోంది. విశ్వగురువుగా ఎన్నో దేశాలకు ఆహార పదార్థాలు, ఔషధాలు అందించడమే కాదు, పలు దేశాల్లో మౌలిక సదుపాయాల కల్పనను చేస్తోంది. ఈ క్రమంలో రామరాజ్య భారత్ కల సాకారానికి పాలకులే కాదు, ప్రతి భారతీయుడు ఆరాటపడుతున్నారు. దీనికి ఎన్ఆర్ఐలు తమ వంతు సాయం చేస్తున్నారు. ఇండియన్ అమెరికన్ కమ్యూనిటీ ఎన్జే ఆధ్వర్యంలో అమెరికాలో ఎడిసన్ ఎన్జేలో రామమందిరం నుండి రామరాజ్య భారత్ కవాతును ఫిబ్రవరి 25 మధ్యాహ్నం 2:30 గంటల నుండి 4 గంటల వరకు నిర్వహించారు. ఈ కవాతుకు బీజేపీ మాజీ జనరల్ సెక్రటరీ రామ్ మాధవ్ హాజరయ్యారు. ఆయనతో పాటు జయేష్ పటేల్, కృష్ణారెడ్డి, చరణ్ సింగ్, గణేష్ రామకృష్ణన్, అమర్ గోస్వామి, అరవింద్ పటేల్, కల్పనా శుక్లా, సంతోష్ రెడ్డి, దీప్ భట్, గుంజన్ మిశ్రా, నిమేష్ దీక్షిత్, మోహన్ దేవరకొండ, సానిల్ నంబియార్, శ్రీకాంత్ తుమ్మల, విలాస్ జంబులా, హరిసేతి, మధుకర్ రెడ్డి, ప్రదీప్ కట్టా, విజయ్ జోషి, మితేష్ త్రివేది, వంశీ ఆంజాలా తదితరులు పాల్గొన్నారు.
How India is moving forward. So with that, in the interest of the time and in the view of your busy schedule, we'll just cut to the chase and I will invite Krishna Reddy ji to give a welcome speech. Thank you.
भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय। Namaste. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all. Today's talk is about Ram Mandir to Ram Raja, Bharat marching forward. I'd like to welcome our esteemed guest, Sri Ram Madhav ji, former General Secretary of BJP, member Governing Council, India Foundation, NEC member of RSS. In January, we witnessed a historic event, the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. We waited for 500 years. What does Ram Rajya mean? Are we laying foundation for the next 1,000 years for the Ram Rajya? And how Bharat will change? What are we going to see? This is what we are going to be looking forward to hearing from our esteemed guest. So we have time to ask questions after the talk. Thank you.
To introduce Ram Madhav ji, also, although he doesn't need an introduction, but in official capacity, she's going to do an introduction for Ram Madhav ji.
Author, thinker, who is the former National General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party, wherein he handled the political affairs of Jammu and Kashmir and the northeastern states of India. He is member of the Board of Governors of India Foundation, a New Delhi-based premium think tank. So he has written a lot of books. We have seen like two of them recently, The Hindutva Paradigm, Integral Humanism and the Quest for a Non-Western Worldview, and Because India Comes First, Reflection on Nationalism, Identity and Culture and Uneasy Neighbors, India and China after 50 years of the war. So he has traveled a lot and he has been here quite frequently. I think last year he was twice over here, and now after the Ram Mandir, he is going to introduce us with the roadmap from Ram Mandir to Ram Raj. So let us all welcome him for being over here.
All the friends from the Bharatiya community living here. I'm happy to be back in the midst of all of you. I was with you all last year also, not many months ago. I was reminded that I'm coming too frequently. I will spare you next time. But happy to be meeting with you all at a time when, when everybody in the world, every person of Bharatiya origin in the world genuinely feels that there cannot be a better time than being an Indian. भारतीय होने के लिए आज से अच्छा कोई जीवन में समय नहीं मिलने वाला है. Be happy, be proud that we are living in this era, this time when the country is passing through this great, gigantic transformation. I was at the Columbia Business School yesterday for a conference. I actually came for that, and I'm going to Europe today evening. There, the moderator asked me this very contemporary question about what's going to happen in the elections. I told him what I said. I will probably repeat here to start with. I told him that that question is much more exciting for you in America. What's going to happen here? It's going to be Biden or Trump, who will come? That's a very exciting question for you here in America. But that question is not so very relevant in India anymore. You ask even Biden or Trump, they will also say, Aayega to Modi. But this is not any psephology or astrology. This is the sentiment right at the grassroots in our country today. The amount of good work that has happened in the last 10 years, last 1 decade, I don't have any hesitation because I lived in our country for at least 50-55 years now. The amount of change, the amount of good work that we experienced in the last 10 years, we couldn't experience, at least in my life, in last 40 years. Whether in terms of country's greater unity, country's greater prosperity, prosperity at the grassroots. You know, you can't imagine, people may say anything about, unemployment, etc., etc. Today, the amount of dispensable income with the ordinary people in our country is much more than what it used to be a few years ago. That is leading to a lot of economic activity. No train is empty today, no flight is empty today. People travel, people live relatively better lives today. That economic prosperity that is seen to be, one can feel it, one can see it in our country today. Greater economic prosperity. A strong Bharat. The strength is of course felt by our neighbors. Our great neighbors which used to take us for granted in the past. About whom we used to be afraid in the past, are today afraid of us. A strong Bharat, not just on the borders, but within the country. Today, those history cheaters, those who are known to be rowdy elements in our country are running for their lives today. Ordinary citizens of our country feel more secure on the road, in the house today than ever before in the past. Many criminals want to be in the jails than outside for the fear of the action by the governments. Better to be inside the jail. Secure Bharat, and most importantly, a Bharat which is respected globally. Today, the weight of Indian passport is much more than what it used to be 10 years ago. Those who carry that passport know it. You go with that passport to any embassy for any visa, you will get it in no time. No questions asked like in the past. That change, that what an average citizen in our country experiences on a daily basis, is naturally what makes him ask this very fundamental question. When everything is going so right, why should I change my leader? And do I have any alternative? No, already some political commentators in India are advising the opposition, you start working now for 29. But I can tell you, 29 also seat is not going to be vacant. The reason is, today you have a government that really touches the hearts of the people of our country. It not only bothers about the physical well-being of our people. Of course, in terms of physical well-being, we are doing very well today. We have great physical infrastructure developing in the country. Every day we are adding miles of highways. We are building ports, we are building airports, we are building railways, we are building roads. All sorts of infrastructure is growing. That is happening. But besides that, the emotional satisfaction of being a Bharatiya. What it means is what people feel today. When they see that a Ram temple coming up in Ayodhya, a dream that the people of this country nurtured for 5 centuries, just now Krishna Reddy mentioned 500 years of the struggles. When it realized in front of their own eyes, people feel an emotional satisfaction. Oh, this is what kind of Bharat I wanted to see. The feeling, that satisfaction today. You know, I was involved in the affairs of Jammu and Kashmir. We formed a government there. Earlier, I was in the RSS. I used to draft resolutions in the RSS about abrogation of Article 370. When we used to discuss about it in our team about drafting the resolution, it never used to occur to us that one day will come and the resolution will really go. 370 will really go. One day will come. We never thought that. But something that we used to think is beyond our, it's just an imagination. It's nothing to be really achieved in our lifetime. It has happened in front of our own eyes. How much satisfaction people who involved through the struggle for decades for such a transformation must have felt. Similarly, Ram Mandir. I'm sure some of you also must have been involved in that great agitation that we all jumped into in 1980s. I very well remember, I was an RSS pracharak. There was an All India meeting. Balasaheb Devrasji was our RSS chief, Sarsang Chalak at that time. We were to take that crucial decision as to whether RSS as an organization should jump into it or allow the Vishwa Hindu Parishad to run it. This was 1983, I think. There was a consensus within the cadres, within the functionaries, that no, it is time we jumped into it. That time, Balasaheb said something very important. He said, look, this is the heartbeat of, those days, 1 billion Indians. Getting into it is a one-way street. Once you get into it, you must achieve it, then only this issue should be put to rest. It's not that you temporarily get into it, do work for some years and come back. There's no coming back. You just get in, achieve it. So that time there was a lot of enthusiasm. We all got into it in 80s. And out of enthusiasm, we first removed that structure there in 92. But then it took 30 years. 3 decades. Finally, today, that culmination of that great movement we see in the establishment of that great Ram temple in Ayodhya. Remember one thing. whether it was abrogation of Article 370 or building a Ram temple or creating a common civil code for the whole country, or we call it uniform civil code for the whole country. All this was not divisive, it was for the greater unity of our country. Ram represented or represents the greater unity of our country. He is the greatest unifier of our country. That's the reason why we waited for 30 years for this temple to be realized. We waited for the Supreme Court to give its verdict. न्यायपूर्ण ढंग से बनना, not by force, but by building that consensus. Consensus doesn't mean 100%, remember. Consensus means greater acceptance of the validity of the demand, validity of the cause. We waited for 30 years. Because whether it was abrogation of Article 370 or building of Ram Mandir, the objective was to create a united Bharat. 1.4 billion people of our country should stand like one man. That's what Ram stood for. That is what Ram Temple meant for us. That's why when the Supreme Court's decision came, the current RSS chief gave a very important statement. It could have been a great occasion for jubilation, chest thumping, right? You know, a struggle that went on for 500 years, finally the verdict came in favor of Hindus. But what Bhagwat Ji, the current RSS chief, said was, this is not a victory or a defeat for one or the other. It's actually a moment of great celebration for the whole nation because it is realizing its soul today. Ram represents the soul of our country, which Vivekananda used to say, Dharma, Prana, Bharata. The country is, the soul of this country is Dharma, the religion, the spirituality. Ram represented that. That's the reason why. After the Supreme Court verdict, while we said it's not to be seen as a victory of one community over other, it's rather should be seen as the symbol of greater, spiritual unity of our country, we also decided that this temple shall be built with the contributions from millions and millions of the people of our Bharat. For 2 years, 1 full year I would say, our Karyakartas have reached out to each household. 160 million people contributed to this Ram temple, remember. 16 करोड़ लोगों का इसमें योगदान है. मतलब 16 crore into 5, almost 60% of the people of Bharat have directly contributed to building this temple. I can tell you, it included Muslims, it included Christians, it included communists. Some of them wanted their names not to be written on the receipt, that's fine. अनाम हमारे यहाँ है गुप्तदान. Those who probably didn't believe in Ram, probably some who believed in some other god. Somebody who believed in Buddha, somebody who believed in some other tradition. But everybody saw in this temple a great symbol of India's, Bharat's 2,000, 5,000-year-old civilization rising up again. So this temple today that has come up is the result of not only that thinking, but also that action of millions and millions of Bharatiyas coming together. It actually symbolizes the great mission with which Prime Minister Modi's government has embarked on its journey 10 years ago. Create that kind of a united Bharat. Create that kind of a strong Bharat, that kind of a proud Bharat. Proud. Today everybody feels proud. Not just proud about India's prosperity. Of course, India is is a today $4 trillion economy. In no time, it's going to become a $5 trillion economy, third largest economy. Not only proud about that, but also proud about the ancestry, proud about the history, proud about the religion. Everybody wants to wear it on their sleeves. Do you know Mr. Rahul Gandhi's whole objection to Ayodhya Sila, Ayodhya Prana Pratishtha was, why only Modi? Why not me? We welcome that kind of an objection. Sabka number aayega. Now the whole urge is not about resolving this issue, that issue. It's all resolved. Or any small issues remaining, they will be resolved. There's no concern. Now the urge, the ambition in the whole country, every person has the ambition that now you should scale your heights. Now India should become not just 5, but $10 trillion economy. Because for a country of 1.4 billion people, 5 trillion is not going to make us a developed country. What Prime Minister Modi ji talks about, a Vikasit Bharat is a country which will have an economy of the size of anything between 10 to 15 trillion dollars. That's what is the target now. To achieve that, Prime Minister is today talking about bringing semiconductor industry to India, talking about bringing artificial intelligence industry to India. India to become the hub of new technologies, frontier technologies. India to behave like a country on the path to developed status. We have to behave like that. That is going to be our trajectory in the coming years. Economy, economy, and economy. Some of you who have been living in this country for 30 years or so, some seniors are here, you may recall that in 1992 elections here, when Bill Clinton was contesting, Bill Clinton or his assistant gave a very interesting statement. What is the challenge before America? That was the question. What was the issue on which you go to the people? Clinton or probably his secretary. He said, it's economy, damn it. Or it's economy stupid. So it is economy in India. We have to make India a really developed country. But as cadres motivated by an ideology, inspired by an ideology, we also must remember one very important thing. I mentioned it and close. Maybe we can discuss a few things. When Bhagwan Ram returned to Ayodhya after that 14 years of Vanvas, that great humiliations he endured at the hands of Ravan, his own wife being taken away, subjected to such humiliations. After returning to Ayodhya, Ram did not look back. Ram did not talk about those 14 years. Instead, Ram looked ahead and talked about building Ram Rajya. Today, after building this magnificent Ram temple, bringing Ram back to Ayodhya, all of us should now look forward to building that great Ram Rajya. We can still continue to look back. We can still continue to call our own people, for whatever reason, Ravanas. We can still dare to have our own battles, small battles. But that cannot be the way to build a Ram Rajya. To build Ram Rajya means you have to look ahead, look forward, unity, prosperity, strength, and dignity. These are the 4 pillars on which the new Rama Rajya society will be built. And remember, Ram Rajya is of course Dharma Rajya. But Ram Rajya's beautiful definition that Mahatma Gandhi gave was, Ram Rajya is not any theocracy. It's not a religious kind of state. He said, where the weakest shall have as much power as the strongest. देश का हर व्यक्ति एक ही प्रकार का स्ट्रेंथ को महसूस करना है. Every citizen of our country should feel happy, secure and proud. That kind of Bharat is what we have to build. We are on that path. People actually look at Prime Minister Modi for that particular thing, that here is a leader who, of course, gives me prosperity, but also gives me dignity. He makes me feel proud. He makes me feel happy. He makes me feel satisfied. You know, that feel good is what is Ram Rajya. We are on the path to achieving that feel good for 1.4 billion Bharatiyas. Thank you.
और भगवान नेपाल से भी बहुत लोग आए. And I'd like to tell the audience that up until now, Rajaji and I, we hid the fact, not hid, we were kind of embarrassed of our lineage. Rajaji, direct descendant, direct lineage, vertical, not horizontal. 765 years ago, Prithvinarayan Shah united Nepal. That country needs your attention. Ram Madhav ji, that country needs BJP, Modi ji, Yogi ji, everybody's need attention. It's this royalty is older than any royalty in the world. 1,000 years, that documented. And इसको षड्यंत्र के तहत मैं आप लोग को बताना चाहती हूँ. एक षड्यंत्र के तहत इसको हटाया गया. I would like Ram Madhav ji, please, you have years to higher positions. What is BJP stand on Bhagwan Ram, जहाँ राम राज्य आ गया है भारत में, उनकी शक्ति माता सीता जानकी महल के प्रति बीजेपी का क्या जी तरीका?
Thank you. In the construction of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, thousands and thousands of Hindu people from Nepal also have actively contributed. In fact, the Diwali that every village in Bharat celebrated on January 22nd was celebrated with equal enthusiasm in village after village in Nepal also. Not just Nepal, I would say, wherever Hindu community was living, in all those places, massive celebrations happened. Naturally, Nepal is an important neighbor, and of course, Nepal is the birthplace of Mata Sita, Mata Janaki, but also birthplace of Bhagwan Buddha. Civilizationally, culturally, intrinsically linked to Bharat. That intrinsic civilizational cultural link will always be nurtured. We always be together as Hindus sharing, say, civilizational cultural values. But having said it, we are two sovereign countries, we should not forget. That effort will happen.
Thank you, Ramadaji. I think there's another question.
How much does it affect? You know, half the movement, half the problems in the country are because of the untruth which is spread by them. And unless we do something about it, I mean, they should, you know, everybody is equal. You can speak whatever you want. Does that mean that you can speak untruth? And nobody will ever say anything to them? This is my only question. No other question.
There are some habitual liars in our country, but they are there everywhere. They are there right from New York Times to Washington Post, everywhere they are there. That's a field that we can't do anything about. But in a free country, we have freedom of expression. People have freedom to express, some misuse it, as you rightly pointed out. But their number is shrinking because today society is more enlightened, more awake, like how you question them. Similarly, in Bharat also people stand up and question those people if they try to spread lies, spread canards about the country. While they enjoy freedom because democracies give freedom, absolute freedom, you know. And we are in favor of that. We do not want to curb the freedom of expression within the limits of, you know, what we call as public health and morality. Within that limit. ठीक है? Happen करो. Public सब जानती है. हमारे कहते हैं ना यार जनता है सब जानती है. So people are realizing who are what. They are put in their place. Very interestingly today, most of these people don't find any space in India. So they come to Columbia, they come to Harvard. Here they spread all those lies. India में कोई सुनता नहीं है. तो उनको सुनने के लिए कोई आता नहीं है. So that is the situation also there. But here also even here also the situation is changing. Today Columbia में मैं भी जा रहा हूँ. And I get a bigger reception than they get. So we have to make our voice louder. You know that saying ना कि एक रेखा को छोटा करना है तो बाजू में बड़ा रेखा खींचो ना. You make your voice felt more prominently, pronouncedly before the people. That's what we are trying to do. By the way, on a lighter note, these guys who are perpetual haters of us, today their biggest complaint is that we are not getting any space in media, we are not getting any space in TV. Everything is taken over by, you know, the Sangha Parivar people and RSS, BJP people. That's their complaint. So that's also a reality. There are people who do those things, but they are increasingly being subjected to thorough scrutiny by the people. You know, people's scrutiny is the guarantee. Let us keep on enlightening people, like how we are doing here. Keep on doing this. These fellows, whatever they do, उनके दाल नहीं गलने वाला, क्या बोलते हैं इन्हें में? हाँ, नहीं चलने वाला.
All these corrupted Congress leaders. If that is the case, then how come BJP can be considered as a unique party?
Of 370 abrogation, where you are an active member in the Jammu and Kashmir and you are taking care of all those things. So thank you for that. The second question is, now we have Ram consecrated in Ayodhya, and also in every Indian heart, basically, you know, Ram is established, like, you know, in Indians. However, in the next generation of the kids, basically, who are studying in probably Harvard or Stanford, from Indians basically, they are being brainwashed right now against the Hindu culture, against Ram. For example, they are being told that why do you have to worship Ram? Because, you know, he abandoned his wife, like, you know, when she was pregnant, such kind of thing, you know. Malicious stories, you know, without actual proper historic, mythological knowledge. They are propagating hatred towards Hinduism, and they are converting, you know, our kids. So, in that way, you know, what is our government's stand? Thank you.
Any more?
Thanks.
quick. Welcome to USSR. NRI की ओर से एक डर हमको होता है, राम राज्य आ गया है. राम राज्य के हिसाब से नोट तो नहीं बदलेगी ना, नोट नहीं बदलेगी ना पैसे की. अगेन एंड अगेन वी स्केयर हियर.
Yes, sir. After question. Yeah, please go. The chairman will ask you.
So, thank you for establishing the Ram Temple, but I go from South India. And when we talk about Tamil Nadu and Kerala, the temples that we go to, they're typically being robbed by the governments. When I say robbed, literally robbed. We put money in the Undial, 25% is taken by the government in Tamil Nadu. In Kerala, communists have been elevated to the highest posts of temples. What is the BJP government doing to these two states to at least reclaim the temples out of the hands of political parties that believe in the destruction of Hinduism as a religion, as a dharma, and...
Thank you. I think we got it.
Okay, देखिए, करप्ट लोग वो कांग्रेस के हैं और किसी के हैं, उनका to take to do whatever is needed to be done with them, is not BJP's job per se. It's the job of the law enforcement agencies, and law enforcement agencies are doing their job thoroughly. Those leaders that you probably had in mind when you said Congress leaders, they are on bail in many cases, remember. But bail is the right, what can we do? So the law is catching up with them. If you are doing any wrong thing, you will pay for it. It's not the country of 10 years before. You can, if you are a leader, you can do anything and get away. No. To the extent that your house also can be bulldozed if you do बहुत ज़्यादा बदमाशी. घर भी नहीं बचेगा. And that's why I told you, many of these corrupt people, many of these criminal elements, they find jail to be safer than outside. यार जब तक ये योगी जी है तब तक जेल में रहेंगे. क्या करना है बाहर? So that fear is very much there, and no, law will catch up with those who are doing wrong things in public life. This propaganda about our religion, our dharma. Remember, it's not the first time that it's happening. It's not new. This kind of propaganda used to happen all the time. You recall what Vivekananda had to tell the missionaries here. When he came here in 1893, he was called only to a conference where the express objective purpose was to establish the supremacy of Christian religion. He came and told them that, you see, I come from a country which is much higher in its thinking. It respects everybody. It not only respects everybody, it celebrates this diversity. The kind of country that I come from. So he actually gave the positive picture about our dharma to the American world. Why I'm mentioning it was, while this kind of calumny has been thrown at our dharma occasionally by some people from time to time, we have to stand up. We have to tell our kids what is our dharma, what is the greatness of it. And while saying that, I will tell you, today, at least in countries like USA, there are many takers for this kind of propaganda. I was there when a few days before the inauguration of the Akshardham Temple in your New Jersey, Robertsville. I was there in the temple. I mean, it was mind-boggling. Thousands and thousands of youngsters who are the second, third generation Indian family youngsters here, they did physical, car seva we call it, physical effort to build that temple. When some communist fellows intervened and sent the laborers away back to India, these youngsters came forward and did it. So, despite the propaganda, our youngsters still stand up because we have families which teach them what is right. We have such religious institutions. One Akshardham is there, one Swaminarayan is there, one Chinmaya Mission is there, one Ramakrishna Mission is there, one HSS, Vishndu. We all have to do the job of giving right information about our dharma to our kids, our generations. That is the only way to address this challenge. About temples in Tamil Nadu, yes, this what we call in Bharat as endowment laws, meaning control of the religious institutions, that Hindu religious institutions. These laws are under our constitution, under the control of the state governments, the purview of state. It doesn't come under the purview of the union government, the government of India. Even then, we are coming out with a new draft law which will make sure that temples are not controlled by governments anymore. It will be returned to the community, but in such a way, remember, in such a way that once in the hands of the community won't quarrel over the control of the temple. That's the big problem with us also. We Hindus have this trait now, we will never be united. We will start fighting. We will take temples to courts. So that should not happen. So a proper law which will release temples from the government control and hand it over to community, but in such a way that there will be some kind of an order and discipline in running the temple. That law is being prepared by, some experts, Swamis, Sant Mahatmas, and some jurists together. Probably once this election is over, the draft will come before the government, central government. But remember, it's not the government of India which can promulgate that law. It has to go to the states. Now, what do you do with states like Tamil Nadu, where a government which is committed, which calls Sanatana Dharma an evil? That is the government you have in Tamil Nadu. How do you protect temples there? Simple formula is change the government. So we are working towards that. So before asking us what you will do to protect temples, first to tell us how to change the government. Our party, the ruling party there. Come, let us first change the government, then temples in those states also will be taken care of. That's the only way to go about it.
How busy you are, and then you came just before getting onto the flight, you came here and then made a speech for us, and it's an intriguing speech, like how Ram Mandir actually is part of everyone's emotions, and also how we have to go about Ram Raj. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. And audience, you see, full of all, and then there are many people coming in, pouring in. Thank you so much, audience. Thanks for coming in. And I know, an event like this wouldn't happen with all Karyakartas relentlessly working for every event, not only for Indian community and also other organizations. So thank you so much, all Karyakartas, and also sponsors. He wants to say something. Please go ahead, sir.
एक ही नारा, एक ही नाम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम,
जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय.
So wow, at the last I want to thank Mirchi Restaurant also, this restaurant, they actually helped us, and then donors. You all know that this event wouldn't happen without donors also. Thanks everyone. Thank you so much.
Today, Bharat has emerged as a very strong country in the world, respected country in the world. Bharat's leadership is globally respected. Every Bharatiya feels honored, dignified, feels proud of his Bharatiya identity. We have built our Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and next step for the country is to build Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya means that 1.4 billion people of Bharat feeling proud, happy, satisfied, both in their material lives but also emotionally. That kind of Bharat is being built by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and people across the globe, in every country, especially Bharatiya people, wherever they are living, they are feeling that joy, they are feeling that pride in themselves. Today's meeting is the manifestation of that pride in the Bharatiya community, and with the support of this Bharatiya community, India will march forward to becoming a Ram Rajya. Thank you.
So, overseas friends of BJP నిర్వహించిన కిక్ ఆఫ్ మీటింగ్ అయితే 2024 జనరల్ ఎలక్షన్ క్యాంపెయిన్ కిక్ ఆఫ్ మీటింగ్కి హండ్రెడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎన్ఆర్ఐస్ అటెండ్ అయినరు. అయితే ఈరోజు న్యూ జెర్సీలో ఏమేం ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేద్దామనే దాని గురించి డిస్కస్ చేసిండ్రు. అయితే మోదీజీ గారి అచీవ్మెంట్స్ లాస్ట్ ల్యాండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇయర్లో ఏం చేసి దాని గురించి కూడా మాట్లాడి, ప్లస్ ఈ న్యూ జెర్సీలో చాయ్ పే చర్చలు, కార్ ర్యాలీలు, మరియు సోషల్ మీడియా క్యాంపెయినింగు, ఫోన్ కాల్ క్యాంపెయినింగు, ఇవి ఇక్కడ ఏమేమి నెక్స్ట్ 2 monthsలో ఏం చేయాలనేది డిస్కస్ చేసి ఆల్రెడీ డిసైడ్ చేసిండ్రు. అయితే నెక్స్ట్ 2 months విల్ బి వెరీ యాక్టివ్. చాలామంది వాలంటీర్స్ ముందుకు వచ్చిర్రు. ఏంటంటే మనము మొత్తం 400 బార్ అప్కి బార్ 400 పార్ అన్న విధంగా 400 seats ఎన్డీఏకు రావాలని, 370+ బీజేపీకి రావాలని ప్రయత్నిస్తామని అందరం ప్లాన్ చేస్తున్నాం.
My name is Amar Goswami. I am from OF BJP. And we'll be coordinating a lot of efforts for Gujarat chapter in next 2 months. Weekly meeting, Chai Pe Charcha, as Krishna ji has mentioned. Our target is to get 400 seats for BJP, and a lot of Karyakartas will be traveling to India to help the campaign. Thank you.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. నా పేరు సంతోష్ రెడ్డి, ఓవర్సీస్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఆఫ్ బీజేపీ న్యూ జెర్సీ. ఈరోజు చాయ్ పే చర్చ కార్యక్రమం భాగంగా అమెరికాలోని వివిధ నగరాల్లో చేస్తున్నాము. అదే భాగంగా న్యూ జెర్సీలో ఈరోజు లాంచ్ చేసినాము. ఇదే చాయ్ పే చర్చతో పాటు ఎలక్షన్ అయ్యే వరకు కూడా కార్ ర్యాలీ, పబ్లిక్ మీటింగ్ ఇట్లా అన్నీ కూడా ప్లాన్ చేసి ఈ విధంగా 400 సీట్లకు ఎట్లా గెలవాలా, ఎంత ప్రిసైజ్డ్గా పోవాలనే ప్లానింగ్తో పాటు ఈరోజు అందరూ ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి న్యూజెర్సీ పెద్దలందరూ కూడా రావడం జరిగింది. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
నా పేరు శ్రీకాంత్ అండి, నేను న్యూజెర్సీ నుంచి. ఈరోజు పార్లమెంట్ ఎలక్షన్లకు జరిగే ఎలక్షన్ల గురించి ఈరోజు కిక్ ఆఫ్ మీటింగ్ జరిగింది న్యూజెర్సీలో. దీనికి అనుగుణంగా మేము చేసేటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలను ఏ విధంగా మేము ముందుకెళ్లాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఇక్కడ మాట్లాడుకోవడం జరిగింది. ప్రతిసారి మేము చేసే ఎలక్షన్లకు చేసేటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలనే ఈసారి కూడా కొనసాగిస్తూ ఇంకా ఎలా ఇంప్రూవ్ కావాలి, 400 సీట్లకు పైగా ఏ విధంగా రావాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఈరోజు ఇక్కడ సమావేశం జరిగింది. న్యూజెర్సీలో కాకుండా యుఎస్లో మొత్తంలో మేము ఇలాంటి సమావేశాలు నిర్వహించి మా కార్యాచరణను ప్రకటించుకొని మేము ముందుకెళ్తున్నాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
నమస్కారం అండి, నా పేరు విలాస్ జంబల. నేను ఓవర్సీస్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఆఫ్ బీజేపీ తెలంగాణ చాప్టర్ కన్వీనర్ను. ఈరోజు ఓవర్సీస్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఆఫ్ బీజేపీ ఆధ్వర్యంలో న్యూజెర్సీలో ఎడిసన్ మిర్చి రెస్టారెంట్లో కార్యకర్తల మీటింగ్ జరిగింది. దీనికి భారతదేశంలో జరగబోతున్నటువంటి ఎలక్షన్స్ కోసము సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎలక్షన్స్ అంటే సెంట్రల్ ఎలక్షన్స్, ఎంపీ ఎలక్షన్స్ కోసము ప్రణాళిక కోసం ఇక్కడ వాలంటీర్స్ అందరం మీట్ అయ్యి భారత్లో జరుగుతున్నటువంటి అభివృద్ధి కోసము మరోసారి మోడీ గారు రావాలని చెప్పేసి అనుకుంటూ విప్లవాత్మకమైనటువంటి ఎన్నో సంస్కరణలు తీసుకొచ్చినటువంటి మోడీ గారికి మళ్ళోసారి గెలిపించాలని కోరుతూ ఇక్కడ నెక్స్ట్ సోషల్ మీడియా కానీ మిగతా బ్రెయిన్ స్ట్రామింగ్ అంటే మేధావుల సంపన్నత గురించి మాట్లాడడం కోసము ఇక్కడ చర్చించడం జరిగింది. ఇదంతా తెలంగాణలో మరియు భారతదేశంలో అత్యధిక ఎంపీ సీట్లు గెలిపించాలని కోరుకుంటూ ఇక్కడ సమావేశం జరిగింది. భారత్ మాతా కీ జై, జై హింద్.
Namaste, my name is Shivadasan Nair. I am the convener of New York chapter of OFBJP, and we are starting our kickoff election campaign for 2024, and we would like Modi ji come back again for the third term, and also his plan for India become the third largest economy in the world. We support and wish all the best for that achievement. Thank you.
இந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி எங்களுக்கு தந்ததுக்கு ஃபஸ்ட்டு நன்றி கிருஷ்ணா ஜிக்கு. அண்ணாமலை அண்ணாவுக்கு நாங்கள் வந்து விஷஸ் இங்கேருந்து சென்ட் பண்ணுறது தான் வந்திருக்கோம். 2024 40 சீட்டில் எங்களுக்கு ஒரு 40 சீட்டும் வந்தால் நல்லாயிருக்கும். ப்ளஸ் 2026 அண்ணாமலை அண்ணா சிஎம்மாக உட்காரணும், அதுதான் எங்களோட ஆசை.
अगली बार 400 we need Modi. अभी आपके लिए पानी में गए हैं, पाताल में गए अभी मोदी. हाँ,
भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, भारत माता की जय. अब की बार 400 पार, अब की बार 400 पार, अब की बार